at the end. Anyways, hi.
Hi both of you, it's lovely to see you here again. I'm Anna. The last time I asked a question about iconic lines, and I'm going to save that for later, but I wanted to ask about executive producing. You've both been executive producers now, and I wanted to hear maybe one instance where you were pleasantly surprised about the role, even though after doing 15 years on Supernatural, and one instance where you were quite challenged and you didn't actually expect that to be so challenging.
You mean as far as, because we didn't EP Supernatural.
No, as executive producers in the work that you've done.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, I got it.
Since Supernatural.
God. Okay, so having seen the industry as EPs, what we think about some of the things that happened in Supernatural.
What was one thing that kind of surprised you positively, and what was one thing that kind of surprised you negatively as an EP?
Yeah.
Okay, positively.
Thank you, Jensen.
I'll start. I think one of the things that surprised me positively was reassuring was that there are so many things. By the time the script got to us in Vancouver Supernatural, there were fires that we could put out on set, and for a long time we didn't have an EP full-time in Vancouver. We kind of were. We like a rose by end of the name would smell sweet. We were on set putting out fires. So the knowledge that if you get involved early enough, you can not, burden set with it. What surprised me negatively, and I mean this, and I say this to young actors and actresses, is finding out how silly the casting process can be. It's like, oh, person number one is fucking perfect for the character. Oh my God, what a performance. And then you get a phone call from the studio or network like, no, they have brown hair. Like, so maybe it's like justification for myself. Honestly, like we've been through the same thing. Too tall, too short, too black, too white, too big, too small. Green eyes, blue eyes, whatever.
That must be really frustrating.
I'm sorry? It is, but it's frustrating, but also, as an actor who, I've been on 1,000 auditions, and I'm considered successful because I booked 20 of them, going like, oh, maybe it's not, and he directed many episodes of Supernatural, and then we'd work with somebody a couple seasons later who was like, oh yeah, Jensen, I auditioned for whatever, and he'd say to me like, God, I remember that, and she was the best, or he was the best, but they weren't available the second Friday or something, and so you lose a role. You don't find that out as an actor. You just find out you lost the role. And so it's hard to say to somebody like, hey, you were my choice, but you're the same height as this person, or Jared's a giant.
You don't want it to get back to the person that did get the role that they weren't the choice. So you kind of have to cover your
the politics
tracks.
I think we were fortunate for many years, especially on Supernatural, that we just got it and we got to pretend and make art. We didn't have to deal with the politics, and so the politics of it are unfortunately real. And you just hope that whoever you hire has the wherewithal to deal with it.
I would never want him to know that he was the second choice to play Sam.
The fourth.
And to me, they just let me choose.
And Barry Watson wasn't available. But yeah, that's kind of where I sit. The negative is it's a lot more political beforehand than you realize. The positive is that you can make a difference.
At least you can be proactive before it gets
Yeah.
I'd say the positive is the collaborative aspect of it from an early standpoint. So like Jared said, when we would get the script and we would be on set, he and I would be collaborative about how to get done what in the script says that we need to get done. So we have we have a mission, and that is the script, and it is up to us and the director and the crew to figure out how to accomplish that mission. The collaborative aspect as an EP is collaborating on coming up with the mission. And so that has always been what I've enjoyed most about filmmaking and when I'm on set and stuff, is collaborating with other artists and thoughtful minds and coming up with best case scenarios, and that's just really fun. It kind of gets that kind of team building sense that I really enjoy. The downside of executive producing is that you are dealing with people within your camp, which is maybe the other writer, the other producers, but you're also dealing with the studio, and they have a lot of opinions. You're dealing with the network, they have a lot of opinions. So you have so many cooks in the kitchen, and navigating that and making sure everybody is heard and feeling like their opinions are validated and reflected in the script is really, can be difficult to do. And when people have opinions on certain things, like whether it's a storyline or whether it's a character or whether it's a casting, I will say that in the process of doing the Winchesters, the most frustrated I got and the most kind of vocal I got in my frustration was about the casting process. And I had to really, I mean, I thankfully he ended up getting the role, but they drug Drake along for quite a while without signing off on him, and it got to a point where he was doing chemistry reads like twice a week with a variety of different actresses, and thankfully Meg was our choice and she ended up getting it, but they wanted to see more. They were like, okay, that's great, but we want to see more options. And they kept asking for more options for a lot of the roles. And it was like, we had already kind of made our choice. Like, we knew who we wanted, and they just kind of kept wanting to see options and options and options and options. And finally I was like, this is ridiculous, and this has got to stop.
Why do you think that was? Because when we look at Dry, you'd be like, it's just perfect.
Yeah, well, because a lot of times there's people that maybe one person that's like, I don't see it. Or, I wanted a blonde hair. I had in my mind that the guy was blonde, or I had in my mind that he, was this, or was that, and so that's, and when they're the studio execs, or when they're the people that are head of production or head of this, and they do have a voice, and it should be heard, and you have to listen to them. And you don't have to agree with them, but you do have to listen. And so sometimes it was very frustrating for me to navigate those situations, and I did get a little, I finally kind of blew my top, and I've got a long fuse, as Jared will tell you, and they found the end of it when I was in the casting process, and I don't know whether it was, well, it was, funny enough, when I got, we'll call it passionate about the casting process and the actors that we wanted. I think that is what tipped the scale, they said. They were like, okay, the fact that you're this passionate about these two people gives us the confidence to go ahead and sign off on them. And I was like, thank you! So that was frustrating. But again, it's all part of it. And it was, my first time doing it. I probably should have handled myself with a little more grace. And now that I know that that's what that process can be like, I'll probably attempt, when I get another chance to do that, I'll have maybe a little bit more.
See, I've been telling you this for years. Just lose your temper earlier. I'm not going to lose temper. Anna, thank you so much.
You were great.
Yeah. How are you?
Hi.
Hi.
So I was the last question at JIB last year, and I asked all of you the question, what was the dumbest way you ever injured yourself? And everyone answered except for Jensen, because he set it up perfectly, and then he got cut off by music. So hopefully we're okay now. So please tell us your
How
story.
much longer do we have?
It was about a chin, so that's all I know.
So the question is, have I ever gotten injured?
What's the dumbest way you ever
Oh, the
hurt
dumbest
yourself?
way
Yeah.
I've gotten
You
injured.
said something about Vancouver and your chin, and it was dark.
Oh, yeah, that probably ranks up there as one of the dumbest, if not the dumbest. It was, I was at a friend's house, and it was, yeah, it was time to go home. It was late, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go downstairs, and I think at that time it was taxi. I don't even think Uber was still like maybe just starting out. So I was like, I'm gonna go. I'll call a cab. I went downstairs. He was in an apartment building, and I went downstairs and was on the street, and I was like literally just kind of like, you know, on my phone, like waiting for the cab to show up, and it was drizzling, kind of wet. So the sidewalks and everything were wet, and there was a planter, like a, you know, just like a built up kind of brick planter with plants and stuff. It was maybe about that high, and I was just, you know, wasting time, and I thought I would just kind of hop up on it. I didn't notice that the top of it was curved, and it was wet. And so when I jumped up on it, my foot went, and my face went. I don't even know what, like, I guess my arm went into the dirt and it didn't catch my face. So my chin hit the brick mortar from like a jump.
You still have a scar, right?
Oh yeah, I got a scar right there on my chin. Split me wide open, blood all over my shirt. And then the cab driver showed up, and he was like, and he left. He left. So I then had to call an ambulance. And an ambulance picked me up and took me straight to the hospital, and I got stitched up. So that was pretty stupid. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, good to see you.
That's it? That's all we have time for today? That's all we have time for right now. We shall return. And what? Okay, I'm signing off. Final words?
Final words.
Good. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you later.